Welcome back everybody to the channel, and welcome back to the penultimate episode of my top 10s players videos that I've been doing. Basically making a list of the players that I think are some of the best players on the game, and we are now into the crunch part. Okay, yeah, everybody likes to learn about the goalkeepers and defenders, but it's the midfielders and the attackers that are going to win your games and going to win your titles, and we are onto the midfielders list. So, without further ado, I'm going to go straight into it, and in at number 10 is Gianluca Prestiani. Now this player, Argentinian winger slash attacking midfielder. I bought originally on my youth academy save for Liverpool, and I bought him in from Argentina for 9 million. Loaned him out for a couple of seasons to get some more game time. Didn't get too much game time later on, but I decided I wanted to develop him a little bit more, and boy did he develop. 27 years old at this point. That's at the end of a 10-year or a 10-season build, and this is how he turns out. Absolutely and utterly incredible. And it's not the first time that I've bought him. I have used him on other saves. If you go through like sort of my previous videos, I have bought him a couple of times. Before the winter transfer update, he had a really high potential. Then in real life I think he got bought by Benfica, and then in the winter update it got knocked down a little bit, but he is still a very good, reliable winger, very consistent, loves the big matches, has absolutely outstanding attributes, and as I say, career stats wise gets you plenty of goals and plenty of assists through the season. So he would be my pick, and especially for a bargain buy. Even though he is at Benfica, you can get him on the cheap after like sort of one season or whatever. So at number 10, that is Gianluca Prestiani. But coming in at number 9 is Mario Pasalic. Now, he's a name that you've seen around, more than likely, on FM. Comes with a bit of a bargain price, I believe. Most times I've bought him from Atalanta. Yeah, Atalanta signed him for 13.5 million. I signed him for 8.5 million. On this Wolfsburg save, by the time this video comes out, I don't think my Wolfsburg series has started yet, so you're kind of getting a little sneak peek here at a couple of players I'm going to be using. But Pasalic is one of those that goes under the radar. His attributes don't look amazing, but his statistics of nearly an average of 7 every single season, gets plenty of assists, plenty of goals, plays plenty of games. Overall, I mean, okay, at this point he's 32, but if you get him early enough from Atalanta, he will do a job for you, and he has the consistency, the big matches. Overall, he's just an absolutely phenomenal player, and an absolute bargain at like 8 million. I would highly recommend, if you're looking for an experienced midfielder who is going to be consistent for you and bring your team up to the next level, Mario Pasalic is definitely it. But there is also another one coming in at number 8 who is also a countryman partner for him, and I think is just as good, if not better. So coming in at number 8 is Lovro Majer. Now, Lovro Majer, again, is another Croatian centre attacking midfielder, just like Pasalic, so they both play in the same positions. But Majer is actually, personally, I think, better as a central midfielder, not an attacking midfielder. He's got great flair. Physicals are a little bit to be desired, but he does lack pace and he does lack strength. But his consistency and his big matches, again, Pasalic and Majer combined in this team, and you'll see when the series comes out. Again, another sneak peek, Wolfsburg series. The consistency is amazing. Wolfsburg actually bought him in the summer transfer window from Rennes for 22.5 million, and I haven't regretted using him once, especially if he's picking up double figures of goals, double figures of assists. Okay, on this season he didn't play as much, but again, just the consistency. So between those two players, they have propelled my Wolfsburg team, and as you'll see, up to the next level to start challenging for things. I can't really fault him. He's a Croatian international, he gets plenty of caps there as well. Balanced personality, great attacking midfielder, worth between 40 and 50 million at this point in time. very happy with that. So that is my number 8 pick. But this is where we start getting into the bigger players. So coming in at number 7 is Bilal El Khanous. Now, in real life, Bilal El Khanous, I think got bought in the summer transfer window by Leicester, and he's done okay there at the moment, but then again, Leicester aren't exactly doing that well in real life. Again, he's another player who I've bought a couple of times on this game. For the life of me, the other team that I bought him for completely escapes me right now, but I did buy him from a West Ham save, where I actually got him on a free transfer, and I only got him for 1 season before I finished the rebuild off. But still came in with a 7.14 average rating, 9 goals, 6 assists in 28 league games, 48 starts, 18 goals, 16 assists, 6 player of the matches. And he's still only 24. He's a little Moroccan wizard, and I highly recommend it. Like I say, if I could remember what other save file I bought him on, then I'll put it in here, because I actually had him for longer period than that, and he was still amazing there. But this guy, jeez, you just got to look at his mental attributes for an attacking midfielder. Work rate combining with flair, decisions, composure is absolutely amazing. His pace is electric, but his first touch and his passing and technique is amazing as well. So as an attacking midfielder, you can't go much better than him. Admittedly, I think if you want to buy him from the outset, he's going to cost about 40 to 50 million, so it may be worth watching him for a couple of seasons. But I think he is very, very much worth it, and if he turns out like this in real life, he's going to be some player to watch. Leading us into what I think is probably one of the most underrated attacking midfielders on the game, but I think does have a very bright future, and that's coming in at number 6, and that will be João Rego. João Rego, the Ronaldo regen, I call him on this sometimes. Now, again, he's a player who I've bought plenty of times in different save games, namely my Young Gun series at Borussia Dortmund. I bought him in for that, and he was phenomenal there. This Leeds one, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He got top scorer of the season with 26 goals all in all, 15 in the league. And you can get him for a fairly cheap price from Benfica. But it all depends on how the game loads him up. He does have a very high potential ceiling on this game. But sometimes I've bought him and he just doesn't reach that potential. And then there's other times where he does reach that potential and he is absolutely phenomenal. But it's still worth the risk, especially for around about that price on the game. And you look at it, I only had him for 3 seasons. 5 and 8 there. And then 16 and 12, 15 and 4. What's that, 14 player of the matches and over a 7 average rating on those seasons as well. If I kept on using him, he's only 22 as well. And this was on a 5-year rebuild, so I got him from Benfica, I think, when he was, what, 19? 20? Something like that. He is so worth it, and he just keeps on getting better and better. And as I say, I used him on my Young Guns Dortmund save, and I had him pretty much for the entire 10 seasons. He does turn into the next Ronaldo on the game. He is well worth it. But if somebody like this is well worth it at number 6, what is the top 5 looking like? Well, I'm going to show you right now. Number 5 is Newcastle United's very own Lewis Miley. Lewis Miley coming in at number 5 is probably, to some of you, going to be a little bit of a strange pick, okay? His attributes don't look absolutely amazing. He does have a reasonable potential range on this game, but it's his consistency, his big matches that he likes, all these good things up here. As long as you've got these stacked up here, the attributes, okay, yes, they do count for something, but you look at all these greens, and the fact that he starts off at Newcastle, I kept him for the entire Newcastle save. 286 appearances, 33 league goals, 37 assists, almost a 7 average rating from a deeper, like, sort of central midfield role is really, really good. And the fact that he's English as well. English players are tough to find, and yes, okay, he would be, if you go Newcastle, fine. If you're going to try and get him from Newcastle, that is going to prove very, very expensive. But I couldn't leave him out on my list, especially after the Wheel of Fate series that I've just done with Newcastle, and he was an absolute pinnacle part crucial part, a cog in the machine to get the Newcastle team where I wanted it to go. And he's still got plenty of time to go because he's only young. So Lewis Miley is going to be my number 5 pick, but there is his midfield partner coming in at number 4. And that is Alex Scott. Alex Scott is one of the most underrated English midfielders on the game, in my opinion. He doesn't get mentioned enough. Yes, he starts off at Bournemouth, who I believe, yes, we bought him from a few seasons in, and I didn't regret it. His overall performances have been absolutely immense. His mental attributes, again, just a big game player, constant consistency, loves running through the centre, tries killer balls often, comes deep to get the ball, has great pace and agility to back that up, plus excellent passing. And as I say, it's the mental attributes as well. For an English midfielder, again, an English midfielder, which is always a bit of a sticking point for Premier League teams when you're trying to go further into the future, because obviously if you're trying to get into Europe, in the heights of Europe, you have to keep the English players or the homegrown players in your team to meet the registration quotas. So players like Lewis Miley and Alex Scott are absolutely essential for that, and Alex Scott, for me, phenomenal. And again, is another player who I've used on my Bournemouth rebuild, which was one of the first rebuilds I did on FM24, and he didn't let me down there either. So for number 4, that is Alex Scott. But my top 3, well, we're heading off to Brighton, and for number 3, that's going to be his name is Patrick Provod, and yes, he is a regen. He is literally the only regen I've had in this list, which is a little bit unusual because most of my other 2 lists, my goalkeepers and defenders, were pretty evenly split. But this is the only regen, but I had to share it because he is utterly world class. I can't believe I found this guy in Victoria Pilsen. I bought him for £6.5 million, and he turned into this at the age of 23. Yes, okay, he can't jump. He's a bit on the short side, which actually doesn't make it. 177 centimeters isn't small by any stretch of imagination, but I'm sure he'd be able to do a little bit better on the jumping side of things. But as a deep line playmaker, a bone crunching tackler, and with amazing vision, and just look at him, and he's worth 130 million. He, again, this is going to be looking a little bit into the future because this is part of my Brighton series that has just started in the last couple of weeks or so. You won't see this guy until later on, admittedly, but I couldn't help but show him because he's absolutely phenomenal. As a defensive midfielder, he is literally perfect, and that's all you need to know for that one. And with that sort of history, a couple of goals here, assists, but his final season was his breakout season, realistically. And he's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And turning in £6 million into a £130 million player is exactly what FM is all about. And that's why I like it so much. But my top 2 are 2 more Brighton players. And it's going to be a difficult one to arrange them, but here it comes. So coming in at number 2... one of the main stars of the game, in my opinion, Harvey Elliott, coming in at number 2. And what more could be said? Okay, physically, not the fastest. And in real life, that is very, very true. He's one of my favourite up-and-coming players in real life. And yes, okay, physically, that is probably about right. He is incredibly agile. He's got great balance. Strength, pace-wise, probably not the best, but he more than makes up for that in intelligence, game intelligence, and his technique. He's absolutely excellent at both. And this is on my Brighton save, but I used him in my Liverpool save as well. I've used him in a couple of other saves. So on here, yeah, in my Brighton save, played a lot of games, a lot of assists, good few goals. I think on this one he actually picked up a bit of a major injury as well. But when you got the likes of teamwork, vision and work rate all above 16 with your determination, composure and decisions, it makes for a really, really intelligent and capable attacking midfielder. Well worth the punt, but there was one player who beat him to it. There's one player who I have liked on this game since day one, and I buy him a hell of a lot. And coming in at number 1, that player is... And then at number 1 is my man Carlos Baleba. Now Carlos Baleba is phenomenal on this game. And here you'll see him at Newcastle with possibly some of the best mental attributes for a defensive midfielder you're ever going to see. Physically, I've seen him get better than this. He does get better than this, and technically as well, as long as you play him consistently enough, he turns into an absolute beast. In real life, it looks like possibly that United, City, Liverpool, Arsenal are all sniffing around him in real life, and I can't say I'm surprised at that, because he's a very, very, very talented player, and I think he'll go really, really far in real life. As for the game, he's probably one of the most bought defensive midfielders on the game. Yes, he is not cheap. You're probably going to pay anywhere between 30 to 50 million to buy him, but if you get him within your first season or two, sometimes you can get him cheaper than that, because for some reason or other the game doesn't like to use him at Brighton. I don't know why, but if you can get him quickly enough within the first season or two, and you get him in your team straight away consistently, he turns into an absolute beast. And that is my number 1 pick and recommendation for you to go and buy on FM to improve your midfield. Well guys, there we have it. I hope you enjoyed this list. Whether you agree with it or not, leave a comment down below. Give me some of your player suggestions. I'd like to hear from you and see what you guys think about it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy this, and keep an eye out for all the other content that's coming up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Ta-ra.